working undercover, you'd be on a target, and across the street, you'd realize that there's another team targeting your same target. You're compromising the safety of the officer that's undercover.
I was at a sporting event. I saw an officer. He picks up a napkin and he starts drawing X's where his officers are. I froze a little bit.
When the situation happens, the phones start ringing, and the knee-jerk reaction is, you're messing up my investigation.
Officers will use whatever tools they have at hand. If they don't have technology in front of them, they'll grab a napkin. The safety of spectators, players, officers, fire, ambulance, all of that is at stake.
Criminals don't care about jurisdictional boundaries. They will intentionally commit crimes on one side and commit crimes on the other side, knowing that the information sharing historically has had major gaps. You could be responding to 123 Main Street. Meanwhile, 126 Main Street across the street is a very serious offender, someone that can do you harm, and now your back's turned to that address. It definitely makes your stomach drop.
Before the start of shift, we'll have a parade where they bring their patrol officers in. Prior to 2020, basically what that looked like was a hard copy of an Excel sheet that's not routinely updated.
Bulletins were printed, they were paper-based, they were taped to the wall. You had to try and memorize a wall of photos and information. Everything about policing is location. So I was a police officer for 21 years. 8 years of that, I was in uniform. I worked 7 years in the drug squad. Going from being an undercover officer to sitting at a desk, being a tech person, which I had no tech background, I didn't feel like a real cop anymore. Admittedly, I had to Google what innovation was and what analytics were.
I overheard someone say once that I just make maps. And that really hit hard.
I got situated at Toronto Police Headquarters in a desk next to a GIS professional. And he started explaining to me how location intelligence could help solve the bail problem. And it was like I'd been seeing in black and white my whole life, and I just saw in color.
And that made me even more determined to prove them wrong, because the value is not just the map, it's the system on which the map was built.
Our system was utilizing Excel sheets that were 30 days outdated. I knew there had to be a better way of doing it. Through consultation with Toronto Police Service, the idea was to develop color coding pins on the map. So a green pin, it means that they know that that person within the last 7 days had a bail check. When an officer's in a zone, he brings up the bail compliance dashboard and says, you know what, I'm in this area. Who's around me with a yellow pin? Those are the ones due for a check. The information is now direct from the courthouse, and it's updated daily with Durham, OPP, and Toronto sharing data in real time. Prior to COVID, we were roughly averaging about 1,000 bail compliance checks a year. Today, we're approaching 6,000 checks for 2025. There was an incident in the south end of Oshawa. There was a vehicle that was recovered that had been set on fire.
When vehicles are lit on fire and torched, it's because they were involved in a major crime and the suspects are trying to eliminate the evidence. I opened up the interactive crime map that had been built for Toronto Police, and I discovered that a red Volkswagen had been used in a shooting homicide in the Jane and Finch area in Toronto. Inspector Williamson and I opened up the bail compliance dashboard.
We did do a search of the area based on that filter. We had a few people who came up, but nothing rang out to us.
We went to the case status filter and changed it to closed to look at previous old bails. And right away we saw an individual matching the description approximately 50 meters from where that car was torched. I took a screenshot and I emailed it to the lead investigators, and within 30 seconds, my phone was ringing with the investigators, very excited on the other end. A Canada-wide warrant went out for his arrest. He was ultimately arrested and convicted of murder. When we were successful with helping solve a homicide, it validated everything that I had seen when I first saw the technology. I was tasked with expanding what I'd done in Toronto and Ontario to the rest of the country.
For me, the satisfaction comes from knowing that these people are going to be arrested, right? So at the end of the day, we're catching bad guys. That's a big part of the success with our program.
Being able to have these types of tools at their fingertips, they will solve more crimes. They will increase officer safety, public safety.
I do this because it's the right thing to do. This is more than just technology. This is people's lives.
You're not doing your community any favors if you're still at the point where you're using spreadsheets.
From 1,200 to 6,000 checks, that's 5,000 more times we prevented someone from slipping through the cracks. It changes the landscape of policing.